I mean, I'm not sure, obviously, I know you were saying that you weren't privy to the insider information, and they
Yeah,
do keep that very much under wraps. But as someone who was close to the blast is probably the best metaphor for it.
yeah.
Do you know if it's true that he was excommunicated from the
He
church before
was.
he died? Yeah.
He was
Was that because of the incident with
with
the
the quality
White
house.
House? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was already kind of a discussion from what I was seeing. Like because he was sick, like he obviously started like talking different. He started, viewing situations differently. And as soon as he started talking like that, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Like the foundation of our church is falling apart. Essentially, and they're like, it doesn't matter if he started the church, like if he's the founder of this church, we still have to uphold the beliefs and the foundation. So they're like, regardless of if this is our father, this is our pastor, we need to kick him out. Like the where fell what am I trying to say?
The
Yeah, the
welfare.
where fell of our family basically was falling apart. So they're like, regardless, Gramps is out. Like he's out. It
Mhm.
was a weird moment, and that's when they moved him to the house, and that's when he got really sick.
As so for reference, was he well? I mean, whilst obviously he had dementia, was he saying things that possibly could have got him excommunicated
Mhm.
before he went out into the,
I'm
or
not I'm not 100% sure on if before he'd gone out and had that incident with
mhm,
the quality house, what was being said or what was happening, because towards the end there, none of us were really allowed to see him. Like I said, it was like only Cheryl, our Aunt Cheryl was like the only one that really, and then our Aunt Liz, I feel like, was the only other one that really interacted with him. So none of us, at least from what I saw, because I wasn't technically a member, we I don't know of anything that he was saying beforehand, but
mhm.
there were moments where somehow like he'd get out of the church, like it was like they were trying to keep him locked up in a way, locked up in the church, and then he would he would go on these walks around the block. Like he'd put his jacket on and his sunglasses and his hat, and he'd start walking around the block. And they would tell us, they're like, "Oh, Gramps is outside. Everyone close the doors." Like it was weird. It was like we were hiding from him. Like he was trying to just walk around and like go see his family, and they're like shut down the church basically.
Yeah. How was that as a
It was
grandchild?
it was weird. It was like it was kind of scary to me, honestly. Now that I'm thinking about it, like I'm just remembering all this now. It's weird, but like it was honestly kind of scary because I'm like, this is my grandfather. This is somebody that we're always like open to seeing, open to talking with, and now all of a sudden he decides to go on a walk in on a nice day, and we have to lock the doors, close the windows, like we can't answer the door for our grandfather. This is weird. And then I think after those moments is when the incident happened where he walked out, the front of the church and was talking to people outside the quality house. And then that's when like, all right, yep, this is it. Gramps is done.
Mhm. Well,
Excommunicated him, moved him into the house, completely locked him down. He was locked inside that house.
like a prisoner.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was weird. And like we couldn't say anything about it. We're just like, all right, this is what we're doing now. Like it's like we just had to go with it. It was weird.
I think for context, it's worth mentioning that the Equality House was a house set up by an LGBTQ
Yeah.
charity that was a rainbow house, and then there was the one with the transgender flag painted on it next door. And he said something like, "You are good people."
Yeah. He said, "You guys are good people." Like I don't remember exactly the words that were said, but yeah, like he was
We,
just. What was that?
I was going to say, did you see it happen, or was it
No.
just like talked about heavily in the church?
Yeah, it was just so my older sister is a member of the church, so she was experiencing all these things, and she's only a few years older than me, so I can imagine it was scary for her too. She she would like tell me that these things are going on, and I'm like, this is weird, like this is scary, and
Mm-hmm.
she didn't know how to feel about it, but she was just obviously mirroring the reactions of like what our parents and our aunts and uncles were feeling. Like so she wasn't really allowed to feel her emotions. I don't know, it was weird. It was like she was a robot almost, because like she was telling me that these things are happening. I'm like, Vicky, like this is weird. But she's like, yeah, but it is what it is. Like he's, you know, he's in the wrong here. Like he's a heretic now, you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, this is our grandfather. Like this is the man that, you know, that we based our beliefs on, you know, like from what he's taught us. Like this is what is weird. This is weird. Like this, I can't be the only one seeing this.
Well, it's a weird one as well, because as much as many people disagreed with your Gramps' views on the world and that kind of stuff. I mean, I myself have a grandparent with dementia, and I've seen how it fundamentally changes the kind of person that they are. So to hear that he was excommunicated and treated so horribly and locked away is awful. But do you feel that he generally had a change of heart when he spoke to those people, or that was deep inside him, or do you think that it was just the illness talking?
That's hard for me, because I don't know truly what was in his heart, what was in his mind, and him being sick. Like it could have just been a moment of clarity. Yeah, it could have just been a moment of clarity for him, where he was just like trying to reach out to somebody, but he had no access to anybody except for the people that he saw across the street from the church every day. So that was probably him trying to reach out and be like, hey, like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but knowing how he was, like as my grandfather, not as the pastor, as my grandfather, he was a very sweet man. So I wouldn't put it past him to have been trying to reach out in that way, but I honestly could not say for sure.
I think it's ironic how. Oh, sorry. No, what I didn't
because in those last because in those last moments, we didn't get to interact with him. So
yeah, of course. I think it's ironic how in his last few months or whatever, with his illness, the people who were essentially there for him, that gave him the most attention, were the people who directly opposed everything that he stood for.
Yeah.
Before that, it's quite a strange one. But I'll move on.